Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the DRSCCA Sim Series for Winter 2025. It's the final round of the championship, and it is here at Road America. What a track we are at today for some fantastic GT4 action. It's going to be an absolutely interesting race based off what we saw at Mid-Ohio last week. The times have come in for that qualifying session, and it's pretty close between some of the drivers in there. I'm Matthew Duffin, bringing you all the action with Charles Boschel, and Joshua will be in the background providing all the camera actions and replays for you all to take an interesting look at. But Charles, Road Atlanta to end this championship, a beautiful circuit to end it.
Yeah, absolutely. Road America, the national park of speed here in the U.S. Just a fantastic circuit. It is blisteringly fast, lots of long straightaways. With some very, very tight corners, and it's a couple of challenging pieces that we'll talk about a little later during the course of this lap, but just a fantastic circuit. Really looking forward to it. Tonight is a great way to end the series.
And as you can see, the qualifying has came to an end, and it is Russell Soto on that pole position once again. So 0.8 of a second quicker than Zohair Ahmed in second place. But then behind him is pretty much 0.2, 0.3, and a couple of hundredths separating each driver as Anthony Cuthbert there moves up into P5 at the very end of qualifying. A few drivers still finishing their final runs with a 2-minute 14.8. And Soto, who won in pretty dominant fashion last week after missing that chaos at turn 1, we'll be looking to replicate that here is Herschel coming across the line. And does he improve? Long start line here as he moves up into 13th place. And yeah, what a track to be at. And it's a bit of a mixed track, isn't it? Because you've got the high speed sector 1 where it's that long start straight, the long straight after turns 1 and 2, and then it becomes a bit technical and twisty in that middle sector.
Yeah, it really does as we're on board here coming through the carousel, headed down into one of the challenging corners called the Kink. And it's one of those corners that's almost flat out. You have to hit the line just right after you get the tires warmed up, and you can carry that flat. But, you know, if you miss the apex a little bit, it's a little bit of a challenge to keep that car out of the grass and out of the wall. That will be one of the trouble spots that we'll have to worry about tonight as we come in down through here. The final couple of corners, little rise there. Obviously got to hold as much speed as you can to make this final right-hander, which is a little tricky. Sometimes the curbs will catch you out here in this final corner. But you want to get a good exit out of here because obviously the longest straightaway on the track You're going to carry tons and tons of speed down this straightaway as you head down toward turn 1. Going to be a lot of drafting on those long straightaways, and it's going to be a sight. And it's up to Soto to get that jump. If he gets a jump and gets out to the front, it's going to be hard to catch him. If they can keep within a second, they might use the draft and work back up, but otherwise it's going to be pretty difficult.
And them two first straight, the two straights are going to be really crucial, so you can get the draft in the race to maybe make some moves, and you could see some last gas positions being made in the race due to that draft, especially coming up over the crest of the hill towards the line. But it's the two heavy braking zone, isn't it? Not so heavy into turn 1, but especially down after the back straight, where drivers are all going to look to make the moves. They're the real two key overtaking opportunities tonight, Charles, of really trying to get up that inside, maybe make a late lunge or a send-it manoeuvre up the inside to try and gain a position or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got as you said, turn 1, turn 3, the first two right-handers. You got to carry a lot of speed. It's going to be difficult because it's not a real heavy braking zone. You got to carry a lot of pace through there and get a good run out of the corner, as you saw there. You get a good line through there, and you can make some headway down the straightaway. But this is going to be the tricky part of the track as we're coming down here with Kevin Rold. We're going to head down. Obviously, turn 4 is just flat out, but you got to get turn 5 right. Heaviest braking zone on the track. You've got to flare your car out as far wide as you can for that perfect entrance. And then exit up here as a turn 6, which is a braking point right at the crest of that hill, so the car gets light. Sometimes it makes it very difficult to work your way through there. Very quick little right-hand turn 7, and then another heavy braking zone here into turn 8. This is the trouble spot of the track. Those 4 corners, you usually see lots of battling there side by side, and it just makes those corners even more difficult. Once you get through 8, you get on the carousel, you just kind of feather your throttle, use the throttle for moving your car in and out of that apex. And as we saw earlier, you get to run down to the kink. After you get through the kink, you get a good line through there, and you carry down into Canada Corner, which is another very heavy braking zone. Great passing opportunity. You can get a good run here as you see the Kevin Roll closing up, looking to the inside. Not going to try and make that move there, but you will see lots of moves made, especially later in the race into Canada Corner. And then we're back up into the final couple of corners to start to finish the lap off. If you get behind a slow car, if you can't make that pass around Canada, you're kind of stuck here until you get back on the front straight. And then you get that good run again. And you try and make that move going down the straightaway and then carry down turn 1 as you see the car in front there rolled, kind of moving over to the right-hand side. But that's, as I said, 5, 6, 7, 8 are tricky spots in this track.
And it's a tale of two halves on this circuit as well. We said about Mid-Ohio last week, which we got wrong, actually. We said that the Porsche looked a strong car when the Mercedes actually had a good race. But you've got them straights where the Mercedes and the BMW can really use its power down them straights in this GT4 category to try and extend it as much as it can. And the Porsches ain't going to be good in that second half, the middle to second half of the circuit, where it really gets tight and twisty. With the Porsche being good at its change of direction and being able to just have that better cornering, that's where we're going to see it play out. The McLaren, possibly better on the straights than in the corners. Yes, there's an Aston Martin out there tonight that could be better through the corners as well. So I think we've got a good mix of cars here, Charles, tonight, which are going to show us power and cornering abilities, and that's where it really going to play into the power car's hands at the beginning half of the lap, and then into the sort of like the Porsche and the Aston Martin's hand at the second half of the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. We talked about that, how just kind of dumbstruck we were that the Porsches weren't quite as, or were not quite as strong as we thought they would be at Mid-Ohio last week. But the Mercedes just did the job, was able to get the power down and keep it down. And so we'll see what happens tonight. I won't even make any guesses. We'll just kind of wait and see how it all rolls out here. But you would think a track like this would tend to lean toward those big V8s in the front, the Merc, the Aston, the BMW, I guess is a Turbo 6, but the big front engine cars. So I don't know. We'll just, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see, and see if the Porsche with their nimble abilities through the corners can make up for the lost time that they're going to get down the straights.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolutely fascinating race to see as we come towards the end of this season in what has been an absolute brilliant championship to be a part of, especially last week. Fantastic to get the opportunity to commentate on these guys in these final 2 weeks. But we're in the warm-up session, a quick 10-minute session for these drivers to just kind of make sure their preparations has been correct, make sure their setups are okay, ready to go in this final race of the season. Because normally in a final race, depending on the championship, if the championships are wrapped up, this could just be a free-for-all, no holds barred, sort of let's have a great last race and try and put on as good a show as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're exactly right. It's like, the season's done. We've got what we've got. Let's just go out and have a good time and just see how hard we can run these cars. And I think that's really what, all these guys are here for, is they just want to go out and race and do the best they can. And that's what we're looking forward to.
Going to be a fascinating one, to say the least. It looks gorgeous here at Road America today. Bit of cloud in the sky, which is just keeping them temperatures a little cooler for the drivers and their tyres. But it's going to be a great race. We're currently watching Jeff Sylvester in his Mercedes AMG GT4 coming in towards the carousel here. The long right-hander, and it's really crucial to get a good exit out of here, as Charles was saying, to kind of set you up for the next part of the circuit. But for Jeff, running in that Mercedes-Benz, you just see a car getting it wrong up front and being off the road just ahead as he brings it back onto the track now, and it's flat out through there nearly. You may have that lift just to get it secured, but really 3 major overtaking points: turn 1, turn 3, and then this one down here that you're going to say is your best opportunities at overtaking. Racing drivers can overtake on any corner given the room and respect from their compatriot. Yeah, but they're the 3 best overtaking opportunities, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Is the turn 1, turn 5, and then Canada corner there is just going to be, that's it. Is you try and do the best you can do with those, and if not, you kind of reload and wait for the next opportunity. Yeah. You hope he doesn't lose any time to the competitors up front.
So then, the warm-up coming to an end at the moment then in this for the final time this season. Just a couple of minutes left on the clock, and interested to see what drivers go out and what drivers stay in the pits. At this stage of the session, Charles, obviously just before the race, what will the drivers be looking to do here? Obviously final preparations will be key, just to make sure the final tweaks or any changes to the setup have worked on the car, but what will the drivers be mainly looking for at this part of the race?
I think it's just kind of getting a rhythm started, just getting into the rhythm of the corners. Obviously, kind of looking out to see what other cars are doing, what lines they're taking as well. And it's just getting a feel for everything and getting settled in, get your heart rate steady, and just prep for the race, because it's going to be a hard fought, and you're going to be fully focused when you get in there for that 30-minute race. And I know as far as what for those guys, they're prepping for the race. And at this point, I think we need to mention our sponsors before we get this race hot and rolling. So let's go ahead and talk about the title sponsor for this, the Detroit Region SCCA. The Sports Car Club of America has been providing motorsports events since 1948. With over 1,400 members, there's no shortage of knowledge, history, and trailblazing ideas like this assembly. Thank you to participants and spectators for being part of the augmentation and evolution of the region. The DRSCCA, of course, goes beyond the virtual realm. In 2024, we're hosting over 40 events over 60 days that you can get behind the wheel or so close it will blow your hair back. The gamut of behind the wheel events includes road racing, road rally, rallycross, autocross, and a competitive driving school. Support for the Detroit Grand Prix, Formula SAE, and Street Survival are also amazing opportunities to help sculpt future and professional drivers. And you can see all this on DRSCCA.org to get more information. We also want to take a time to thank our sponsors. Of course, this league would not be possible without the support of the DRSCCA. Additionally, Waterford Hills Road Racing, Metro Detroit's only permanent sanctioned road course, located in Clarkston, Michigan, hosts a 6-weekend race series, competition driving school, and 9 public open track days. The track is hot from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on those event days and is open to the public for only a $5 entry fee, which is just, I mean, you can't go to the movies for $5. If you can go out and drive your car on a track for $5,
steal.
that's a steal of a deal right there. Check out waterfordhills.com for more details, and also thank you to the Michigan Turn Marshals for their support. If you want to get close to the action, be sure to check out michiganturnmarshals.org. They can train you to support races like the Detroit Grand Prix, and that gets you closer than any spectator will ever want to get to. And finally, the last, but certainly not least, Superlap, located in the world-renowned Woodward Avenue, Berkeley, Michigan. Superlap is a sim racing studio, a space to meet and compete. With professional-grade racing simulators, they are premier racing and drive experience venue. They will help you to achieve your motorsports goals with education, practice, and training. Maybe you're familiar with the world's most famous international Formula One series. Well, their best driver is a proponent of sim training and racing, and if he uses it, why shouldn't you? You can race and practice against an AI roster. You can go head-to-head with other humans or both, and there are actually some Superlap drivers in this race. They also offer league play like DRSCCA. Go to superlap.world for details. So thank you to everyone who made this series possible. It's been fantastic to be a commentator on this. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. This is my second season, and hopefully many more to come. And I think we're ready to get the grid sorted here.
Yeah, we're ready to get the grid sorted, and thank you to all our sponsors and participants. But it's Russell Soto who starts on pole position with Zohair Ahmed second place. Kevin Rold is in P3 with Ari Routier in fourth place. Anthony Cuthbert P5. The AM category of Andrew Mowid is P6. Ryan Goff P7 with David Moreno in 8th. Lincoln Oslin in P9. Bob Keach P10. Zane Cross from Corey Smith, the top 12.
Absolutely. It's starting in 13th. We've got Andrew Herschel. Sean Gaynor starts 14th, and one of our AM cars. Sean Fritz in 15th. Jay Lasco 16th. Eric Christensen 17th. Richard Shave 18th. Eric Hallsband 19th. Alex Reuter in 20th. Mike Smith 21st. Matt Malone 22nd. Trent McMillian in 23rd. I believe that is Jackson Olson in 24th. Continue on. Ahmed Bedin in 25th. I'm sorry, Ahmed, I just cannot get your name right. Abdul Huda in 26th. Dustin Dark in 27th. Arush Kumar in 28th. Alan Robson in 29th. Jeff Sylvester in 30th. And finishing up our 32 car grid, Andrew Little and Dom Batts rounds out the 32. And I'm trying to see, Dom Batts is not on the starting grid, and I don't see if, I'm trying to look to see if he was still here or not. I don't see him disconnected, so maybe he's just going to pit start the race.
Well, hopefully he does take to the start of this final race of the season then here at Road America. And you mentioned the Formula One in that sponsorship shout out. I think the first free practice starts in just under an hour's time, so we'll be able to finish here and tune in. Well, you guys may be able to tune in. I'll be off to bed at 1:30 in the morning here.
You can always watch it later.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be definitely off to bed. Either way, it's going to be a good one. I'm saying that if the baby's awake, I might stay with the baby. It's an excuse to put the Formula One on. There we go. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race today. A packed grid, the AMs and the pros. And what will we see at turn one? You go back to a week ago, cast your mind back where we had that 3 wide into turn one, and somehow Russell Soto managed to sort of split the two that missed the brakes and went straight off as they came together, and he managed to go on to win that race. Are we going to see anything as dramatic or similar to that in this race at the start of tonight? That's going to be the biggest question here then as they come in towards the carousel now. 2:14 a lap. It's a long formation lap, but I suppose you've not really got an excuse to not get your tyres or brakes in the correct window, have you?
That's correct. Yeah, you just move the car around a little bit, try and get as much heat as you can. And yeah, if we go 3 wide into 1 again, I suspect we'll see the same result where we had 2 cars go off. So I'm hoping that we can go 2 wide through 1. Just have to be careful because obviously cold tires, cold brakes going to make the car very hard to stick to the apex. So let's hopefully we'll get a nice clean start, and we'll get all these 32 cars that start this race will be able to finish this race under their own power, and we'll get some good battles on track. Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting one to see what will happen here as the The red lights come on the screen, but we are not quite at the the lights come on the screen, so I say, but we are not quite near that start line to get ready to go in this race at the moment. It is going to be and will provide some great dramas here, and I think we're in for an absolutely fantastic race then as we enter the final couple of corners. Now this is going to be a huge night for certain drivers. Maybe they've got things to play for in the championship. Maybe they just want to leave all on the line and end this championship with as good a result as they could possibly get. Either way, we're about to find out what will happen around this Road America circuit. What a track, what a destination to be at. 30 minutes of non-stop action coming your way as they exit the final corner. They head uphill. The safety car pulls into the pit lane, and we are about to get going for the final time this season. It is that of Soto, a familiar sight for him. P1 on the grid and will lead the pack away. They're 2 by 2 up and over the brow. They come now. They will see the green flag about to fly as they all start to get a good run. Green light's not yet on as they go now, and it's racing here at Road America, and it's a brilliant start from everybody, to be fair, all drafting each other and just pushing one another down this straight as they all come heavily into turn 1. Some might be a little bit close. It's a clean start so far from everybody in the field, and that is beautifully done. But Russell Soto's kept himself out front at the moment and has got the jump he needs. But so far, coming through 2, it's all going to be about that draft and slipstream. There's one of the BMWs just avoiding the car in front and going off. I don't think he was hit off. I think that was an avoiding action. There's a McLaren just been tapped around in the mid-pack, and there we go. There's the chaos. We've not even got to turn 5 yet, and there's already 6 or 7 cars off, and that BMW might be thankful that he missed a whole bit of carnage there as they come down the back straight. No, he's not. The BMW's been caught up in it.
He did. I think he rejoined just at the wrong spot. Yeah, the McLaren that started that, did not catch the number, but he got loose coming out of 3 and was really trying to get the car corrected and was doing a good job with it. And I think just maybe somebody behind got a little impatient, gave him another tap, which sent him just, that was the final nail in the coffin for him, and started just a chain reaction.
It was indeed. I'm not seeing that. I've only seen that of Matt Malone go to the pit lane, so he is in there. I'm not sure if that is a disconnection from him. There's a few cars still trying to come back. The BMW, by the way, that was off on his own. I don't know if you saw that, but no front bumper, and it looked like his front right was slightly bent, as if that'd be a bit of a broken suspension or something. There he is off the track. He's just returned to the pit lane. I'm not surprised there. That definitely had a bent front right wheel. But this is Anthony Cuthbert at the moment. More drivers going off, and that's the part of the circuit where if you get it horribly wrong, you are going to end up on that grass. Being able to keep it out of the barrier on that left-hand side of the road. But drivers side by side. Bob Keach at the moment in the BMW going up the inside of Zane Cross. Lovely move, but another spinner.
Yeah, another spinner. Mercedes off in the dirt. That's Ryan Goff. Looked like he had some contact, maybe with a car behind. I don't know. It's one of those, we talked about it right before the race started. The first lap is a little tricky. You don't have enough heat in the tires to get the car sometimes do exactly what you wanted to do. We saw it in the kink with a couple cars going wide, and then we saw it again coming out of Canada corner.
Yeah, we did indeed, as the McLaren now using that power down the start line here look to come flying past what is next to him. I believe the Porsche. You can just see that McLaren's top speed at the moment just coming down this the start straight here. And you're right, because the GT4s don't have tyre blankets, so they've really got to prepare these tyres. It can take a lap or two to get them right into the right window. This is great driving from the McLaren and the Porsche side by side through 1 and 2, and tapped by the fellow Porsche behind. And round they both go, and it was Gaynor who made the contact there. And yeah, that's interesting. I also find it interesting that that's classed as turn 3, not turn 2. But for those who are curious, turn numbers here in the States are based on what motorcycles do. So there is a turn there that the motorcycles have to lift and brake for. Between 1 and 3, so basically it's 1, 3, and 5 instead of 1, 2, and 3. So it's it's just the way things are done here in the States, and we complain about it all the time, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter either way. Here's Ruta here at the moment with the VR headset on in that Porsche through the carousel. Got Cuthbert on the rear. He's got Ahmed just in front. Roll's got up into second place at the moment and has pulled away from Ahmed so far. Soto's only got a 1.5 second gap out front, and Ruta here is doing the job with that VR headset on. Lovely to see at the moment. This is Cuthbert, and yeah, interesting. He's racing in jeans. That's an interesting choice of
This is an interesting choice.
Leg wear to have on as Ruta there, having to go not on the defensive because he's kind of been caught by surprise by Cuthbert on the send it manoeuvre. Ruta's back up to P4 though. He's come back at him on the outside line. Manages to stay in front, but the Mercedes-Benz now to the outside of the final corner. Is he going to look for the up and under, or is he going to try and stay side by side? Contact made, and really that's all on Cuthbert. Just turned in while the Porsche was still next to him.
Yeah, but luckily caught it. Just minor contact. I don't think any damage to the car. Obviously lost several seconds of lap time, but yeah, you could see the Porsche, doing the work there in the bend after Canada corner. Was able to catch that, carry the speed through. Cuthbert tried to take it around the outside, and yeah, just contact. I mean, it's just side-by-side racing, so I don't think there's any ill intent between the two drivers, but obviously caught Cuthbert out just a little bit, and so he's got time to make up.
Yeah, it's just that fine line, isn't it, of leaving some room at the moment. I think we can show you a replay now of the first lap incident as Cuthbert's going side by side there. Well, let's see. So this is Corey Smith in the BMW then. Just watch him. I believe that we caught him sort of avoiding the car in front and taking to the grass. So through 2 into 3. Yeah, well avoided from Corey Smith. Now, you've just seen that blue and white McLaren at the bottom corner of your screen. That was the car that has then lost it coming through the next part of the lap. And here he is. So it's the blue and white McLaren on the inside line of Matt Malone here. Just watch the McLaren.
Oh no!
Oh no! It's the other McLaren. It's the one further forward. So, yeah, it's the other McLaren further forward, and then bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
And this is just a simple factor of drivers not holding brakes and other drivers coming through the field.
Yeah, and it's one of those that when you're coming out of a corner, so that you're obviously just wanting to. As we see that replay again. I think that was Lasco. It was indeed. It was involved in that. But it's your everything you've been practicing is get back on the throttle after you get out of the corner.
Yeah.
And you're just not expecting the whole track to be blocked, and you're just driving right into it.
You just
no time to react.
Just drivers rolling on the circuit as well.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can go back to the BMW that was originally off. This is Corey Smith. This is how he ended up with the damage. So he's going to miss the whole initial incident. There you can see it on his onboard. The incident has happened. You can see it in front of him. He thought, do I come on track? Nope, I'm going to take to the grass. There's a couple more in front of me. Oh, and it's there. No, is there another one? So he rejoins. Oh, he gets tagged on the rejoin into the wall. So it's the rejoin. You was correct then, Charles. You said that it was the rejoin that got it collected. I wonder if we can bring it from out the cockpit. Here we go. Joshua, he's a good guy, and he knows exactly the camera angles we want to see here. But Corey Smith, he's done so well to avoid everybody, because it's like a game of pinball at the moment. Everybody's bouncing off of everything and going everywhere. Just brushes the wall there, and then it's that rejoin. Straight. And really, he has himself to blame for not kind of seeing who's around him, and that ruined his car.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Is you got to keep your head on a swivel when you're getting back on the track. You don't have, everybody says, you give people racing room, but when you're rejoining, it's on you to rejoin safely. And yeah, it just wasn't. He came over a little too far, too fast, and there was a Mercedes there.
Yeah, indeed there was. David Marino, then P7 at the moment. He was in the thick of it last week. He will hopefully be looking for another good race here in that bright green Mercedes-Benz. Goes a little deep there at the bottom of the straight, and that's going to allow Cross through. And he's probably not going to have an easier overtake than that one all night for Zane Cross. Up in towards the left-hand lane. This is that real key point that we said for all the incidents, and it happened down the second straight. I don't think we've seen an incident here all night, but 1.4 Soto ahead of Roll at the moment. I don't think we're getting Soto sort of showing his full pace at the moment. I think he's just building a race so far. I don't think he's trying to just push too hard, maybe make that mistake. But the interesting thing, look, is that Rold is in that Porsche behind him, and that's, we said, didn't we, the tail of the two halves of the circuit. Soto will be able to use that first half to pull away. Rold can gain on him hit through here. Rold, is that the last laps? It is the last laps, and best lap, sorry, was only a tenth slower than Soto. So an interesting one here to see the lap times and the pace come through. These two, though, 2-minute 15s. Everybody else, 2:16, 2:17. These two are clear of the rest of the field. It is a race between these two, and it's a matter, really, of who puts a foot wrong.
That's exactly right. Sometimes you just do it on your driving ability. Sometimes you have to make moves on the inability of other people. So Roll is going to try and just keep sight of Soto there and just trying to keep contact. And Soto makes a mistake, he'll be able to capitalize on it. Otherwise he's going to have a tough time. You know, as you said, the Porsche is going to be good half the circuit, but that Merc's going to be able to stretch its legs out on these long straightaways, and it's going to be tough to reel him back in. I will say this: I did watch, and Roll made a really good move in turn 3, or actually in turn 1 on the first lap to take over P2. Was started in third, made a nice move to the inside of Ahmad, and was able to make that, and has actually done a really good job of stretching his gap.
Kevin Roll's actually just gone a 10th quicker than Soto last lap, so maybe trying to bring that gap down. This is the leader in AM, though. It's Andrew Mowid at the moment. We've got a replay to bring you. And that's the formation. Not just showing us a few. We did just say that Josh was really good on the cameras and was wrong.
And he is.
This is Roll then. I think this is the overtake he was just talking about here, Charles. At the start then, he's side by side with Ahmed at the moment, coming into turn 3. And then as they come through, look, late on the brakes, gets the apex of the corner. Lovely move. And look at the gap it put between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, you get the car on the Merc on the outside of that corner, and he has to just kind of slow it down, and got a really good run and really good exit out, and was able to start pushing that gap.
This is the leader in, and then he's on the back of Moreno and that of Cross at the moment in the red and white with a bit of black on the McLaren. And lovely car to drive at the moment. He's got a good lead in this AM league, in this AM category at the moment as well. He's got 3 cars between him and Ruta in 13th place overall, 2nd place in the AM category. So got a good lead at the moment in that category, and he's hoping to stretch his legs. We're already a third of the way through this race. 11 minutes gone out of the 30 minutes so far. And here is Halsband there then, fully focused, and I love seeing the cameras. I've done a few iRacing championships where you get to see the driver's perspective. You always get a good insight into, you know, sort of the reactions and emotions of drivers.
Yeah, you do, and I think we've had a really good group of drivers. We haven't had any broken monitors or anything like that. So everybody fully focused down on their race. And we have seen some mistakes, and you can kind of see some frustration, a little bit of frustration brewing, but. You know, it's frustration with yourself is always a little different than frustration with somebody else on track. So, yeah, for the most part, everybody's just been really calm, cool, collected, which is what you have to do if you're driving a race car. You can't let your emotions run you, or you're going to end up having a really bad day.
You are indeed, as Eric Christensen here, going side by side with Huda. And that is the blue Aston Martin and the purple Mercedes-Benz. Aston Martin late on the brakes into one good move. Now, I'm just noting that Cross and Mowid got past Cuthbert in that. I don't know if Cuthbert's had a problem, but Mowid also passed Moreno, and Moreno's been dropped by 3 seconds. So I'm not sure if there was an incident there. Christensen's also just lost out to Fritz in the Porsche. Another good move up the inside. This is where, though, that Mercedes-Benz can really use its power down this straight. He'll also be getting a bit of slipstream from that Aston Martin compared to the Porsche. Just a little bit. He's not overly close at the minute where it's going to be really pulling him in, but he's got to have a good set of brakes on him. That Porsche then just pulling back in front into the braking zone. Porsche a bit better on the brakes, gets it turned in, and that's the move done for the Porsche. Now it can set its sights after the Aston Martin. But Cuthbert did drop a couple of places, I noticed. He's now lost out to Herschel, or he's in a fight with Herschel, and there goes Huda. Bang into the wall hard, the Aston Martin GT4, and it is smoking, and that could be game over.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's a blown engine. You just know straight into the wall. Obviously, front engine car, the windshield wipers are not going to help you with that. As we see, and this is what I talked about at the beginning of the race, turn 6. It's a very tricky braking zone, and the curbs caught him out. Too much throttle. Curbs broke the car loose, and around he goes. And I can't tell you how many times I've done that myself. And it's frustrating because that's not really once you get over the crest of the hill, that corner doesn't feel like it's very difficult, but it will absolutely do that to you if you let it.
The other thing you got to see is you love to see the sheer panic on a driver when the windscreen wipers start going, the lights start flashing because he's trying to press any button he can to get the car to go. And
Yeah.
You just forget all button maps on your steering wheel, and everything starts to happen. Here is Moreno then. He's dropped down the order. He's now got Cuthbert and Herschel on the back of him, and it's a three-way Mercedes fight. The green and the black and the yellow. Side-by-side contact. And that's Cuthbert again. Another side-by-side bit of contact for Cuthbert. That's twice he's done that.
Yeah. That was, I don't know. I didn't have a really good angle at that. We're going to get a replay here.
Oh, this is Moreno earlier in the race.
Earlier.
Yeah, this is when he was ahead of the AM driver. So what happened here then? I just too much speed through the corner, too deep. Oh, he's done very well there. He kept that pinned through the corner and decided to just keep the accelerator down.
Yeah, he did, and you could see that they do a really good job of when they laser scan these. You're getting all the bumps that are off in the grass as well, and you could just see him going for a ride. Once he got off into the gravel here, and now your car's just bouncing around, and it's everything you can do to get the car to go where you want it to go. He did a fantastic job keeping it off the wall.
He did indeed, and hopefully we can see that turn one incident with himself and Cuthbert. Cuthbert's dropped down to 14th place now. Herschel's still on the back of him. It's probably one of the funniest liveries I've ever seen. That what does it say on the back of it? Student driver. I think that's fantastic. He's no student driver. He knows what he's doing. This is the incident then up at turn one. This is Cuthbert then getting the run. Moreno's gone defensive. He's going to pull to that outside line down the start-finish straight. Here he goes, side by side they come. And going to just turn into the corner here. And actually, do you know what? That's I think that's blame lies with Moreno there. Braked a little late on the grass and he missed his apex.
Yeah, he did indeed. Yeah, he just kind of shot through the apex a little bit there. But that's twice Cuthbert's tried to make a pass on the outside. And he's had contact with the car on the inside. Maybe he needs to rethink that. He could have got a really, obviously hindsight being 20/20. You saw where Moreno just caught the grass, and that really screwed up his entry in the corner. If Cuthbert would have just lifted, he would have been a nice over/under coming out of that corner, and it would have been an easy pass for that position. But obviously, benefit of hindsight it doesn't really help in the moment.
It's a wonderful thing. It's easy for us to comment on it, but it's not easy done. That is Herschel who's got past Moreno, proving that he is no student driver. He is a man who knows what he's doing out on this track. And there we can see his camera there fully focused on what he is doing. And you've got a bit of head movement there through the corners. I appreciate a driver who has a bit of head movement through the corners. Shows he's fully committed to the race. But one thing Tay Cuthbert could have done there, like you said, lift off the throttle a little earlier. Maybe brake. If then Moreno still went deep, you get the up and under and you threw underneath him into turn 2 and turn 3. But Moreno going to follow Herschel down the back straight here, late on the brakes. He's going to try and take the outside line, running that outside curb. He's definitely looked for the up and under, and Herschel there, not steady through the corner. You see him tap the brake as Rolls got past Soto by 2 seconds here. So what's happened out front?
Wow. So Soto actually had to set the fastest lap of the race, last lap. So something happened with Soto. Maybe he missed the corner at 5. And cost him some time. So we might see if we can get a replay. Here's Josh right on it.
He's on it. It's Josh here. So here's Soto, back marker in front. This is coming down the back straight. No, this is coming into. Oh no! You hate to see it. You hate to see it when it's a lap driver involved. Whoa. And Soto's not done anything wrong there. He's lapped him fine. He's not put that lapped car in any danger. And the lap driver's tried to race him through the corner and spins the race leader down. And you hate to see it because it's something that shouldn't happen.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, this lap driver's got to recognize, hey, we got the leader coming through, going to make a nice easy pass, and then all of a sudden just late on the brakes and dives the apex. That was the 10 car of who we got here. No, it wasn't the 10, obviously. I thought it was a 10. Jeff Sylvester, thank you. Yeah. There we go. Yep. No, it's a 19 car. Okay, that's what it was. You got to be. I think you need to be a little more aware of that.
Yeah.
That's the leader coming through, and it's fun to race with the leader, but you don't want to wreck the leader, especially if he's lapping you.
Yeah, and it's one thing to have that incident if it's first and second place, fighting for a position, fighting hard. But when it's a lapped car hitting a driver down. I don't even think it's as bad if it's the leader hitting a lapped driver. When the lap driver hits the leader, the anger that Soto must have right now, or frustration, should I say, because of it being a backmarker, is just incredible. Here is Sean Gaynor going side by side with, I believe, Christensen then in that Mercedes-Benz, and the shiny silver and the lovely pink as they come down the bottom end of the circuit. See that Porsche's carrying a little front end damage. The Mercedes there up and under, an absolute beauty from that Mercedes-Benz at the moment. Out of 3 down the back straight. I assume this is turn 4 now, down into 5. And that Mercedes-Benz, the Porsche should be just feeling a bit of aero lack of performance on that front end. You can just see it's hit something definitely, but it's holding its own on the Mercedes-Benz. Down in towards turn 5 now. Porsche better on its brakes. Mercedes has been in the wars as well. There's a few scratches on that, and they both got away with it. Although I get the feeling there that Gaynor's just kind of chopped Christensen's nose off, because he slowed down quite a bit as Gaynor come across the circuit to take the corner.
Yeah, I remember Gaynor was in an incident earlier in the race, and you can see obviously the damage on the front of his car. These cars are still battling hard, and it's still battling for position. So, obviously, this is an AM battle. It's actually the AM battle, I believe, for it's 4th and 5th in the AM class. So, there's points on the line and bragging rights on the line, and so you want to run. And I will say this, and we'll go back to the Sylvester and Soto incident. Is Russell is obviously one of the admins here in the league, and so this will be, I think, what we would call a teaching moment. That you get a younger driver, or a little less experienced driver, is like, hey, look, this is not how we're going to do this. We're going to do it this way. And maybe Sylvester gets some knowledge out of it, and it helps his racecraft for future events.
Well, we're seeing Herschel is showing us out of the race, tumbling down the leaderboard at the moment, and he comes back. So that just must have been a bit of a lag spike from Herschel there. We was watching Little on his fantastic G29 that we mentioned a week ago. He's chasing down after Fritz at the moment. There he is, up 14 places is Andrew Little, so having a good little race at the moment. And Fritz just in front of him in that Porsche, just trying to manage what he's doing. Keach has got past Olsen for 4th and 5th. That's just happened as Olsen now got him back done over Keach. But Soto's dropped Ahmed now. That's 1.4 seconds, and he's trying to reel in rolls. But the problem is there's 9 minutes left, and when these two are kind of matching lap times at the moment, the last laps was a 2:15.7 and a 2:15.1. About 0.6 of a second from Soto isn't going to be enough to gain on roll.
No, it's not. He's got 3.5 second gap, so he can close the gap down. It may be close at the end, and you never can tell. Once, is they're still battling? Christensen and Gaynor still battling for that position. They're going deep into 5, and Gaynor's just that Porsche seems like it's really good on the brakes, so it's able to outbrake those Mercedes as they work their way into 6 here. Be very careful. Back on the throttle. We're looking back onto Christensen as we go through 7. Quick little right-hander. There we go. Got the speed right, and they're coming down. And we'll see if we get a late lunge by the Merc. I don't think so. I think the Merc's going to have to do it on the straightaways and not through the corners. I think the Porsche's got him covered there. So we'll keep an eye on this as this battle going. And obviously, we'll keep an eye on the front 2 and see if Soto can make that gap up.
And here's back to Herschel and to Moreno. We'll go back to the roll Soto instant, as Murray Walker once said. Catching's one thing, passing is another. And I think I'm right. Catching one thing's passing is another.
That's exactly what he said. I've heard that 100 times.
I was looking on my phone today, and I saw on Facebook 4 years ago today since we lost Murray Walker. What a sad bit of news, but obviously one of the greats, if not the great, of motorsport commentary, especially here in the United Kingdom, as we're watching Herschel and Moreno for 8th and 9th place coming down the start straight. And Herschel's driving well tonight. We didn't see much of him last week at Mid-Ohio, but he's up there in the top 10 tonight. Little bit off the pace. He's 10 seconds behind Moed in P7, the AM driver, but he's proving that he's capable of a top 10 finish, and he's mixing it with Moreno, who had a pretty solid race last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Moreno did have a really good race last week, and Herschel's doing a great job tonight. Looks like the Road America suits him. And I will say this, and we talk about these when we have our iRacing updates. We always kind of want to highlight things that have changed since the last time we were together. and one of those is the connectivity flag. So Herschel's got to be very careful with those lag spikes, because if they happen too much and for too long of a time, iRacing will say, okay, you're going to be pulled back to the pits, and you can until your connection gets better. You can ghost drive, but this is my favorite part of this. You can ghost drive the race until your connection's better, and then you can rejoin as a participant. However, all the incidents you accrue during your ghost drive count towards your final total. So if you have an incident while you're ghost driving, if you have a few off tracks or a few spins, guess what? Those all count. So so it's a very unique setup that iRacing's employed here.
Well, Herschel at the moment is bobbing and weaving, so to speak. He's left and right all the way down this back part of the circuit, just trying to defend from Moreno back onto the racing line to take the right-hand bend, and through he goes, and you can use a bit of that Kurt run off there on the outside through Canada corners. They come up towards the penultimate one now. Gap's down to 2.5 out front from Soto to Rold, but there's just under 5 minutes remaining in this race, so not a lot of time left. And Kevin Rold, he's just got to bring it home now, hasn't he, with 5 minutes? He's kind of got to watch that gap, make sure that Soto's not pulling off some witchcraft here and making sure that he can absolutely find time everywhere. He's just got to bring it home. But there's battles galore. Look at this timing tower. Olsen's got Keach and Cross on him. We've got Moreno with Herschel. We've got another four-way fight down for 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th. We've got Gaynor and Christensen, Olsen and Drake are having a battle. So there's battles everywhere you look, and this is the battle down for 13th, 14th and 15th. There you see the four cars, the McLaren, the Porsche, the Mercedes, and I believe the first one in front is, I can't remember what it's another Porsche. So these four are having a good little scrap. Anything can happen between these four in this final 4 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still tight battles here, and it only takes one mistake, and you lose 3 spots before you know it. So you're going to be, very careful, as we're on here with Ahmed Bedoun. I'm going to say that, and I'm hoping that's at least close, and Ahmed is not mad at me. So yeah, as you can see, the Merc. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, so that Merc made the move down to the inside. That's Ryan Goff. Was able to make that pass, and looked like Ahmed wanted to make another move down in the braking zone, and kind of got crossed up a little bit. So kind of shut him down and maybe slowed him down just a tad.
This is a replay then of Ryan Goff and Ahmed as well. So coming down these straight, going to come through turn 4. And this is on board with Ahmed at the moment. So watch that Mercedes. It looked a bit of a late chop from the Mercedes to sort of come back onto the racing line. Oh, no, not as late. Oh, yes.
Oh, that was so close.
That's exactly why I don't think Ahmed's gone to make a move there. What Ahmed has done is reacted to the fact that Mercedes has pulled in front and bang, straight onto the brakes.
Yeah.
Ahmed, I tip my hat to you, because that could have so easily been an incident as he goes off the circuit coming down the back part of the track.
Yeah, you can definitely tell he's... he wants to get back up there. He's really pushing that Porsche to try and make that time back up. Yeah, you're right. It was a very late move right before he went into the braking zone, because we've got a battle here for top 5 with Keach and Cross.
These chairs, he's got a motion censored simulator. There's the chairs moving all over the place here for Zane Cross. He's absolutely enjoying that, and it looks like it's feeling every single bump, hits the brakes, and it shuts himself forward. And Cross is looking forward to this one. Look at it, every single bump it takes, it's just bouncing him around as he comes through. So he's having a good bit of time there. Moreno's had to pit, so was on the back of Herschel here, and he's had to pit in this race. So what has happened to Moreno? Maybe a little light on fuel. That seems to be 1 lap too light on the fuel load.
Yeah.
As Bob Keach defending then from Olsen in towards the corner.
Too deep.
And he's gone so deep there that Keach goes through. And can Cross follow him as well? Olsen goes through, and Cross will come up the inside. And lovely move there. I say lovely move. Bit of a mistake there from Keach at the end of the day in the BMW. Throws away a P5.
Yeah, it's kind of sad as you get to this point of the race. There's only a lap left, and you just make a mistake just in the braking zone of turn 5, the heaviest braking zone on the track. and just carries it a little deep. Obviously, trying to carry as much speed as he can to stay in front of these Mercedes, but just a little too much, and they were able to just make that nice, easy move around.
And at times, Charles, it is these, this is one of the more simpler corners on the track.
Yeah.
You know it's a heavy braking zone. You know you've got to hit your mark, otherwise you're going to just go deep. Sometimes when you're under that immense amount of pressure, they're the corners you make mistakes on more.
I'm going to say, I think the issue really was he was really deep inside. And obviously that tightens your entry angle up.
Yeah.
That's turn 5. You want to be out wide to the right, basically straddle on that curb on the outside to make that entry in to carry the speed. And I think he was just a little too far inside, and obviously just struggled to try and make the corner with his normal braking point.
We're still watching a replay here. This is Zane Cross. So does something happen to him? No, just wanted to see a bit more of Zane Cross. As we come up then the start straight, Olsen's now showing us out the race and back in. So that must be that's a couple of lag spikes he set out and in. So he's got to be careful out. And Ahmed's now lost out to Fritz as well. We're on the white flag. It is the final lap. Soto's got 1.2 seconds to make up on roll. That's going to be a tough ask. Also, though, as well for the BMW of Keach, who's lost out to Moed now in the AM driver. So Keach has lost out a little more time. Could he have been sort of caught by what, here in the UK we sort of call it like mirror watching, where he's too busy watching the mirrors of the cars behind him and not focusing on what he's doing in front?
Yep, I think that's as good a reason as any. As I think I'm just looking at the lap time. Soto said a 2:14.8, which would have been the fastest lap of the race, but it didn't count. I think he had an off track somewhere during it. But he's made up an incredible amount of time. I think he made up a second and a half over the last couple of laps. So if the gap's 1 second, but this is the last lap, and so unless Rold makes a mistake, it's basically his race to lose at this point. He's just got to get the car, keep it on the grade for the last few corners.
Soto has drove, I'm going to assume, a bit frustrated and angrily since that contact with the back marker, because he has been rapid ever since then. He's got the fastest lap. It's not quite in the 2:14s, like you say, a bit of an off track. You can see him pushing that car. They both are. Even Rold has thought, God, I've got to get on with this because I've got to start pushing it. One mistake from Rold here, though, and this could be a catastrophe as they come in towards Canada corner now. There's only 2 left to go. Rold's just got to get these 2 absolutely spot on. One mistake, it's down to 0.8 of a second, and it could all go horribly wrong. Through the penultimate corner. He's now got 1 more to go. Make sure you get this one absolutely right. Soto's too far back to make a move at the start line. Gets it right, maybe just a little bit too far on the grass. It's not going to matter either way, because Kevin Rold, fortunate as he may be, is going to win here at the final race of the season at Road America. The checkered flies, and Rold is your race winner from Soto P2. It is then going to be Zohair Ahmed, who is well in front of Lincoln Olsen for 3rd place. You see him there with a flash of the lights in the background. Great drive from him. And Andrew Moed in that AM category is going to come across. Here's Lincoln Olsen and Cross then for P4 and 5, but Moed just a bit further back. Your winner in AM in the McLaren. And he had 2 cars between himself and Rota, who is P9 overall, but is going to be 2nd place in that AM category. And Christensen actually got the better gainer in the end for what could be that 3rd place in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great racing, basically all over the field. It was fantastic. Obviously, we had our issues, but once we got those sorted out, I mean, everybody that was still out there that had cars that were in some sort of decent shape were out there racing them. Yeah. So that's what we like to see. Is we want to see them competing and going for it. So fantastic drive by everybody out there concerned tonight, and it was a good racing. Congrats to Kevin. To get the win, although, sometimes fortune smiles on you, and you have some bad luck for some of the others. And but Soto made a great charge. Bob Keach did not quite have the fuel.
He's out of fuel, so not only was he fighting and made that mistake for top 5, he's now going to finish 19th. In fact, if not even further behind, depending on Olsen's connectivity here. He'll finish a lowest of 21st because Reuter's already finished in 22nd. Oh, you are 2 corners away from the end. You probably only need like half a litre or so to get to that final checkered. But Bob Keach, when it rains, it pours. And on the final lap, it has absolutely came down on him. But what a race tonight. Like you say, fortune shone upon Rold there. But at the end of the day, You've got to be in it to win it. He put himself in a good position by not letting Soto get too far out in front at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. That was it. That was the whole key to his race, was just keeping an eye out front and making sure that Soto didn't get too far away from him, and was able to capitalize on the error, although obviously not Soto's error, but was able to capitalize nonetheless.
We've got a few drivers sat waiting for an interview, and I think we will speak with Kevin Rold. We'll get him in first, who was, Kevin, a bit fortunate maybe in the race, but like we've just said, you've got to be in it to win it, and you were certainly in that position to take full advantage.
Yeah, Matt, it was a tough race. Russell had insane pace this race. I was, pushing as hard as I could to keep up with him. Luckily for me, he had a, incident with a lap car, second time this season, unfortunately for him. But yeah, at the end, I was able to keep it on track and come home with the win.
You got to be pleased with your pace though, because had you just been a little slower at the start of this race, he may have been able to catch you at the end.
Yeah, he was reeling me in there at the end. Unfortunately, I didn't quite have the pace. I think I was, holding on to him a little bit with the draft, keep helping me stay with him. But once he was in draft, I was a little worried there on the last lap or so. But luckily, I kept it ahead there.
It was a well-controlled race from you, especially after you'd taken that lead. You didn't look flustered. It didn't look like the lead had got to you at all. Pretty much, I'm not going to say a plain sailing race, because you obviously had to keep one eye on what he was doing, but a well-controlled race.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely hard to push there. I was, trying to stay mentally focused once I got in front, because I didn't have a reference once he, was behind me. But yeah, last couple laps always a little nerve-wracking, trying to not make a mistake and give him an opportunity to challenge for the win there at the end. But yeah, overall happy with my performance.
Happy with your performance today. Happy with your performance over the season. Obviously, I've only covered these last 2 rounds, so just talk a bit about your season. Was you happy with it?
Yeah, overall, unfortunately, I was only able to participate in 3 out of the 6 races due to work travel and vacations and other things. But in the 3 races I raced, I had 2 wins and I think a 5th place. So overall, pretty happy with that, and looking forward to the next season.
Looking forward to the next season. And finally, anybody, Kevin, that you'd like to thank?
Yeah, thank you guys at Apex for putting on the stream. I'd like to thank my wife Megan for always supporting me, and thank my friends and family, and also DRSCCA and Superlap for supporting the series and putting it on. It's a really fun series. A lot of good camaraderie here, and the racing's really good, so it's overall a very enjoyable experience.
Well, Kevin, thank you for tonight. Great action out there. Congratulations on the race win.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
And we do have Andrew Mowid, who is in the room. Charles, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, Andrew, congratulations on your AM victory and top 6. I mean, so that's a pretty good run for you tonight.
Thank you very much. It was a fun race out there. A little boring at times, but kept it clean and kept it on the track.
Yeah, well, there was some excitement in other areas of the circuit. You basically you started in 6th and finished in 6th, so maybe all the real excitement was behind you at the beginning of the race.
There was a couple cars took each other out in the front, and then I was just like driving my race and hoping for the best.
So. As well, you know what? I was just sitting there looking at it, and we just caught the replay of you working your way through Canada Corner and dodging a car. So talk about your season overall. You've had some really good results this season.
I've been really happy with the pace I was able to put out, and really hoping next year I can make it as the pro driver instead of the AM driver. But these GT4 cars and we seem to cooperate well.
There you go. So any insight into next season, or does that all still be determined? Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard much. I just know that it's going to be it might be a longer season. Other than that, that's all the information I have.
There you go. All right. Well, Andrew, we'll let you give any thanks or shout outs, and we'll let you go enjoy your victory.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you guys. You guys have been great. Broadcasts have been amazing, and I wish you all the best luck.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that was Andrew there then, your race winner in the AM category. And that's all we have time for, really. I say all we have time for. That's all we have for tonight. Nobody else in the interview room. Sadly, we won't get to speak to Russell Soto about that incident with the lapped car. But Charles, a thoroughly enjoyable night. Lap 1 mayhem again, but some great manoeuvres throughout tonight.
Yeah, it really was. You know, that is kind of part and parcel. Some of these races here at Road America end up being really destructive for cars. And you know, we had a couple of pretty serious incidents there at the beginning, but once everybody got settled in, it was a pretty good race, and there was lots of good battles on track. And for the season overall, it's been fantastic. Like I said, this is my second season with the DRSCCA. Thoroughly enjoyed all the action. All the drivers are just amazing to interview when you get a chance and talk with. And they're really good drivers out there. And once again, we have to thank all of the sponsors, along with DRSCCA. I think Superlap and Waterford Hills and Michigan Turn Marshals for helping support this sim racing. And I know that speaking with a couple of drivers, it's a good benefit, especially when you've got drivers that are driving SCCA real world. You know, you get on some of these tracks where these guys, you know, obviously Road America fairly close to Michigan. So, you know, you might see some of these guys out there when the Hooter Super Tour rolls around, or when we get to the end of the season, and you know, when the finals are there. So, you know, obviously anytime you get seat time in a track, whether it be in the sim or on the track itself, is always a good day.
It is indeed. Well, wherever you are in the world watching this one live, that has been the DRSCCA Sim Series for winter 2025. The Formula 1 starts in about 10 minutes if you're up to watch that one, and it's Sebring 12-hour this weekend in the real world motorsport, but here on Apex Racing TV, we have got many more races and much more action to bring you throughout the week. As for the DRSCCA, though, that is this championship done and dusted, and we'll be back with more from them later in the year, hopefully with more to come. As for myself and Charles and Joshua, who's brought you all the fantastic replays in action, as always, we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.